Oh, Roy Arthur, Unbelievable Reality Podcast. Thank you so much for joining. Just sitting here ruminating on the surreal nature of every day right now and the massive sensory overload of all of these traumatic events coalescing at the same time. And being confused as to how are we supposed to just go about living our lives like none of this shit is happening, or none of this shit has happened, or none of this shit will happen. It's just bizarre. And I really wanted to do a series on American capitalism, really American history, American capitalism, and delve into the issues that we're dealing with right now that have always been present in this country from the very, very first fuck all boat. Extraction and exploitation is the root of capitalism. That is where the money comes from. That's how the wheels turn. It's exploitation of local labor and extraction of all resources available. That includes the labor itself. And sorry, got off track there. Just that and that right there. That right there. What we're dealing with is history repeating itself is what I'm trying to get to. Back to the capitalism that I dropped there for a second. Capitalism has always worked in this country the same way. Nothing that's happening now is really any different at all. Capitalism, as without massive amounts of regulation and governance, runs amok. It goes berserk. It feeds itself. Business literally becomes organic. It's almost like a living organism. And in a lot of ways it is, if you look at it through the lens of physics. And we, right now, are suffering so much from that broken system. That's really what I wanted to do my podcast on. And that's what I wanted to talk about. Things like globalization, which has been with us since the 1400s. But we can't, because we're 16 days into a war in Iran that we started because we've been blackmailed into it. That's just a fact. And we have what we allowed Gaza, we participated, we emboldened, we empowered that. Epstein files showing us that the rich and powerful truly do not play by the rules that we average people have to suffer through. I had this conversation with my wife. I'm a small business owner, and I'm a father and a husband, and we have to live as the smaller people. We live under the constant threat of, if you don't pay your taxes, they're going to come and get you. And that if we practice business, we have to stay on the straight and narrow. We can't sell a product to a client that breaks and then tell the client too fucking bad. But we're dealing with that reality here as well. The corporate takeover of our country and the world and our governments. We're dealing with that. Venezuela. We're dealing with colonialism re-emerging. We're dealing with protectionism. We're dealing with isolationism. We have ICE wandering the streets. Now they're in Vermont. Vermont? You're looking for the worst of the immigrant population in Vermont? And Minnesota, because you tried to once again do the Korean thing with the folks from Somalia that live in Minneapolis, and now you're running out of steam there, but you're still doing it. We're dealing with that. We haven't had our first natural disaster of the year, but that's about to come. And through it all, it's like I talked to my daughter today who's skiing in Switzerland. As far away from all of this crazy as she can get. A lot of what is going on right now, let me be absolutely clear. Iran is an absolute disaster. Will go down in history. Hopefully somebody will be left to write it as the worst military decision in the history of mankind. I'm pretty clear on that one. What the Epstein files have done, if they've just shown us the theft, hypocrisy, derision, and complete lack of regard for just humanity in itself, on a level that nobody really expected, and we're still struggling to understand. And while this is all going on, just those things I've already mentioned, nobody is even watching what's going on the AI frontier and how it's advancing at a level that we never, even the people that own the companies, never anticipated this much speed, this rate of change, this incredible empowerment. And those are the companies that are running our country. And the heads of these companies, Sam Altman, Elon Musk, the dude from OpenAI. I mean, our country's run by geek nerds who have huge ego problems, that are frail emotional beings, that have no connection to women. Their lives are beyond. We're allowing the geeks and the nerds to make our decisions, and we have no choice in it. Think about this. I put two children through college in the last 8 years. My third is halfway through. Sam Altman, AI companies in general are telling us that that was all worthless, that we wasted hundreds of thousands of dollars because of their decision to build a technology that would replace that knowledge on a grand scheme to control and manipulate humanity. The AI reality doesn't work. And we're not even talking about it. We're talking around it, but nobody's going, wait just a fucking minute. We can't lose those jobs. We can't replace those people. It's not corporate profits. It doesn't work anymore. It's capitalism broken. The wealth disparity spells it out so entirely clearly. It doesn't take anybody to figure it out. Look at the math. So that's happening right now too. All of this is happening, and I want to do a video on the history of American capitalism and take you all back to 1600 and explain how this country's always been the same. And that's another thing. Nobody understands history. Nobody reads history. Nobody was taught real history, real facts. The average American has no knowledge that the United States was in a war in the Philippines for a decade and committed atrocities that only match today by the Israelis and what they did in Gaza. And that the Philippines was a colony of the United States of America that was given to us in the treaty after the Spanish-American War. They lost everything. They lost the Philippines, Hawaii, Cuba, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, everything. Those were all colonies of the United States. The average American has no idea. The Philippines and Puerto Rico were up for statehood until the Philippines finally declared independence. We know they're no longer a colony of ours. But we were actually looking at a country that included the Philippines, included Puerto Rico, included Cuba as states, which is how we got the state of Alaska initially from the Russians. Did you know that the state of Alaska has only been a state for 100 plus years? It was a colony. Colonialization, capitalism, extraction, and exploitation. I want to talk about those things because knowledge is power and enlightenment is still necessary. And while you're living your day-to-day life and you're just going about your business, be aware of what's going on around us and how that's all the walls are closing in, and that's all coming to our front door soon. But it was always headed that way, because it's always been about the rich getting richer and the poor are just literally units. We're numbers, we're beasts of burden, if you want to put it that way. We exist purely to serve financially. And we're doing more of that today than ever. Everything has a price tag on it. You can't escape it. We're getting fucked by monopolies again. But it's happened 9 times in the history of the United States. And nobody knows that. It was beaten 9 times. This time, it's not looking like we're going to pull that off. We're basically in a situation as just the average American, we're fucked. Straight up fucked. And if you don't have some money, and you better have more than some, and you're not diligent and smart, in the next 6 months, there's going to be, I would estimate, 50 million households in the United States that are going to implode. And once the dominoes start to fall, they're not going to stop. And if this situation in Iran doesn't get resolved soon, every major nation in the world will be in play, and it only takes one mistake. Just one. I'm Roy Arthur. This is Unbelievable Reality Podcast. Check me out on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, and Patreon. We'll talk soon. Peace.